This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 3rd day of April in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Blindsided by the 38% tariffs that the U.S. has imposed on products from Guyana, the government of Guyana is engaging U.S. officials on the tariffs in an effort to better understand the reason behind them and seek a way forward. At his weekly press conference this afternoon, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo said the government will be approaching the U.S. government to clarify some issues which he believes could see the tariffs for Guyana being reduced. Mr. Jagdeo said while Guyana respects the economic policy of the U.S., he believes that there is some information that needs to be clarified. The U.S. has claimed that Guyana imposes tariffs of 76% on imports from America, triggering the 38% reciprocal tariffs on Guyana, which represents half of the tariffs being faced by U.S. products. Vice President Jagdeo said he has been studying the trade data between Guyana and the U.S., and that data points to Guyana importing far more from the U.S. than it exports to the U.S. He said the U.S. benefits from a trade surplus when it comes to Guyana.
So when you apply this, so every country, the bigger your trade surplus is for the United States of America, the bigger the surplus is in percentage terms, the higher would be your reciprocal tariff, because they take using this formula. So that is why and it's across the board. It is for friend and foe alike. The United States has applied this right across the board on the basis of this formula that we think that they applied.
Mr. Jagdeo also said the import data from the country will form part of the discussions with the U.S. government. He told reporters that the information that is available on the UN trade system and the information in the possession of the government of Guyana are conflicting, and he believes once there is clarity, the tariffs could be reduced.
So I think there is still room to discuss a lot of these issues with the United States of America, to show maybe to clarify if there is any difference in data on which the calculations were made, which hopefully can result in a lower tariff, because the United States have already made it clear every country in the world would have to pay, tariffs.
He also said the question is not whether Guyana agrees or disagrees with the tariffs, but it is to maintain the U.S. market for exporters. According to the Vice President, the U.S. remains a crucial market for Guyanese products. He urged exporters not to panic, while promising that the government will work together with them to address their concerns.
I want to assure all of our exporters that we'll work with them, where as we learn more of the issue, we will be meeting with them, working with them to ensure that they can continue to access the U.S. markets and other markets in the world, and they would have the full support of the government of Guyana, so that we do not lose economic output, welfare associated with the loss of economic output.
The increase in the tariffs would result in products being imported to the U.S. fetching a higher price on the U.S. market. Exporters and manufacturers fear that with increased prices, the demand for their products could fall, resulting in less earnings and profits. The Donald Trump administration in the U.S. has described this increased tariff policy as an effort to make America rich again. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
our own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Keeping up with the kids' growth spurts might mean it's time for a bigger fridge. Don't worry, at Quartz, we've got you. Save up to $50,000 on select fridges. Get a free grill or mixer with select stoves and more. Need to upgrade your home? Get smart TVs from as low as $32,999. Plus, shop today and pay later. And make your first payment in 30 days with Quartz Ready Finance. Whatever you need, we've got you. Only at Quartz, bringing value home. Offer ends April 23, 2025.
Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George today dismissed the voter house-to-house verification case, which was filed by People's National Congress Reform Chief Scrutineer Carol Smith Joseph. In her decision this morning, the Acting Chief Justice ruled that addresses claimed by registrants ought not to be verified by the Guyana Elections Commission. She said in her view, the address claimed has to be accepted. The registration officer, she noted, cannot say to a person presenting themselves for registration that they do not accept the address they are given for whatever reason, and therefore disqualify the person for a first registration or registration of a change of address. The Acting Chief Justice said to do so would be to disenfranchise persons, which would be unconstitutional. It was explained by the Chief Justice in her ruling that the provision for the address is merely to identify the polling station to which one would be assigned for the purpose of voting. In laying down the grounds for her application to the court through her attorney Dexter Todd, the PNC Chief Scrutineer had argued that notwithstanding the amendments to the National Registration Act in 2022, there is cause for concern, explaining that some addresses provided have empty lots or dilapidated and abandoned buildings. She said in other cases, no one lives at the addresses provided. She believes the inclusion of such persons in the National Register of Registrants can lead to the contamination of the official list of electors. But the Chief Justice said Smith Joseph failed to provide a thread of evidence to back up her claim. She said the applicant has produced no evidence to support the contention that there are persons who have been found not to be located at the addresses stated on their registration information. That is, that they do not reside at the addresses claimed. According to the Acting Chief Justice, the evidence produced is based on the applicant's views on or perceptions of what is or might be occurring. Justice George said it was strange that the applicant is unaware that the amendment to the National Registration Act in 2022 repealed and therefore removed the requirement for house-to-house registration. The Acting Chief Justice also said Smith Joseph failed to provide answers to important questions emanating from her arguments, such as the factors or parameters to be considered in deciding that an address claimed is not acceptable, how the connection to an address is to be determined, and who determines the factors to be so applied, or the address claimed has a dilapidated or abandoned building, or that the neighbor's indication that a person does not live at an address is accurate. The judge ruled that the Elections Commission does not have the discretion to refuse to register a person or transfer a name of a person from the National Register or the list of electors because the address claimed is not acceptable to the registration officer and or a party scrutineer. Apart from the residency requirements for Commonwealth citizens, residency is not a requirement for Guyanese citizens to qualify for registration to be included in the National Register and the official list of electors for the purpose of voting. Article 159 of the Constitution states that Guyanese 18 years and older are eligible to vote. And according to the Chief Justice, the Constitution includes no distinction in the two components of general elections. Turning her attention to the regional elections, in which the counsel for the Elections Commission, Kurt De Silva, argued that residency is still a constitutional requirement for Guyanese to vote in regional elections, the Chief Justice said once persons are included in the official list of electors, they are therefore eligible to vote in regional elections. It was explained by the Chief Justice that as provided by the electoral laws, the list of persons entitled to vote in the regional elections shall be electors whose names appear on the official list of electors in any division within the region. She said addresses provided by eligible applicants to the Elections Commission at the point of registration must be accepted for inclusion on the National Register of Registrants and ultimately placed on the official list of electors once the requirements outlined in the Article 159 are met. Justice George warned that to do otherwise would be to disenfranchise that registrant from voting in the elections. She said the issues raised by the Council for the Elections Commission were noted, but those issues ought to be addressed at the level of the National Assembly. The GCOM Council had argued that while verification is not required for general elections, it should be required for regional elections. Attorney General Senior Counsel Anand Lal has welcomed the ruling of the High Court, and he noted the judgment of the judge was elaborate and reasoned. He said the ruling has once again confirmed that there is no legal requirement for a Guyanese to be resident at a particular address in Guyana in order to be registered or to vote. He said the court saw the case as an attempt to disenfranchise and violate the doctrine of separation of powers. The PNC's chief scrutineer intends to appeal the case. As the road expansion works continue along the railway embankment road along the east coast of the Demerara, the Ministry of Public Works has taken a decision to block all trucks from using the road. Works Minister Juan Edgel was on site overlooking the roadworks this morning as a temporary bridge was reopened at Strathspey. The bridge was built over the past 2 days as a quick fix following the collapse of the previous bridge. It is suspected that the bridge buckled under the weight of the heavy-duty trucks that have been traversing the area, although major roadworks are ongoing. Those trucks will now have to use the main East Coast Demerara 4-lane roadway.
And no trucks should be on the railway embankment. We have already had 6 aquapanel bridges. That is the remains of the bridge when the trucks were finished with. It looks right in the corner there. We've had 6 of those. We can't continue to have the trucks on the railway embankment. And we are appealing to everybody for their understanding. If people see a truck, just take their picture and post it, we'll get the police to deal with it.
Earlier this week, motorists complained bitterly about backed-up traffic along the East Coast corridor as sections of the railway embankment were closed off because of the collapsed bridge. The government was forced to put the temporary bridge into operation to allow the free flow of traffic. In wake of the 38% tariffs that U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed on products from Guyana being imported into the U.S., the leader of the Alliance for Change, Nigel Hughes, today called for a national dialogue to coordinate a national position and response to the issue. The tariffs on Guyana form part of the U.S. President's global reciprocal tariffs. The announced tariffs on Guyana represent the highest in the Caribbean. In a statement this morning, Mr. Hughes said there must be urgent intervention since the issue is one that could affect a range of Guyanese products, local manufacturers, and exporters.
I want to be clear. This is not a time for finger pointing or political noise. This is a moment for unity, strategy, and leadership. That's why I'm calling for a national consultation, one that brings together all political parties, the private sector, and civil society to protect our economy and our people.
Hughes said he stands ready to be part of any effort that will protect Guyana's national interests. The Guyana government has already said it is closely engaged with its U.S. partners to better understand the issue and have it addressed appropriately. Many countries have already announced countermeasures to the U.S. president's announcements. The tariffs being imposed on Guyana appear to be half of the percentage of tariff that Guyana charges on U.S. products, according to the statement from the White House.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Need small appliance for your kitchen? Giftland have it. Need fridge or stove? Giftland have it. Speakers or laptop? Giftland have it. I'm telling you, Giftland have everything. And don't get me started on TVs. 58 inch, 65 inch, 70 inch, 75 inch. All sizes in leading brands. Best thing about it, they give a warranty. Man, Giftland is the place for all your electronics purchases.
Washi. Hi people, washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright, have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
Buster presenting the new 500 milliliter. Wow. Buster flavorful. Make every meal better. Grab a Buster for drink, Buster move. Taste this. 500 ml, that's it. Buster for days, that's cool. Buster 500 milliliter is a brand new choice of me drink with my food. Vibing every munch, that's smooth. Introducing the new Buster 500 milliliter. Grab a bottle with your lunch today.
2 weeks after a devastating fire gutted a section of the Christian Labor College, which also houses the Guyana Trades Union Congress, the General Secretary of the Union, Lincoln Lewis, today said the union strongly believes that the fire was an act of arson. In a statement shortly after dousing the blaze, the Guyana Fire Service indicated that from all appearances, it seemed as though the fire was triggered by the overheating of old electrical panels. But the GTUC General Secretary said there were no signs that the fire was ignited close to any of the electrical panels in the building or by any wiring.
The electrical panel is still in place and was never burnt. It becomes now a common feature of our fire department to say everything is electrical, right? We have checked with the assistance of people who are competent in those areas, and we have seen what is said to us is that where a fire starts, that's the area that will be totally destroyed. Where the area that has been totally destroyed is not an area that it's starting on a floor. That was totally destroyed.
Mr. Lewis also said since the blaze, the Christian Labor College has not heard from the Guyana Fire Service about its investigations and the cause of the fire. Despite disagreeing on the cause of the fire, Lewis thanked the Guyana Fire Service for its swift response in containing the blaze. The fire destroyed the entire auditorium of the Wolford Avenue College. The western side of the building sustained water damage. Lewis said the government has offered to assist in the rebuilding efforts, and the Guyana Trades Union Congress and the college are grateful for that commitment.
We extend our gratitude to all who have shown support and concern during this difficult time. A special thank you to President Offerlali for reaching out and committing to help the college rebuild. GTUC is in the process of submitting the necessary documentation to and in restoration effort. Like the Phoenix, Critchlow Labour College will rise again.
The Critchlow Labour College is owned by the Guyana Trades Union Congress. It was established back in 1967 and has been the cornerstone of the education of workers in Guyana. It was named after Hubert Nathaniel Critchlow, who was the father of the trade union movement in this country. Well, the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority has launched a full investigation into a runway incursion incident, which resulted in a near miss between the Caribbean Airlines aircraft and the Roraima Airways aircraft at the Cheddi-Jagan International Airport at Tamari. The incident occurred late on Monday night, according to a statement from the Cheddi-Jagan Airport. The statement explained that based on preliminary investigations, the Roraima Airways aircraft was turning off the main runway and then appears to have changed direction. That move resulted in both the Roraima Airways aircraft and the Caribbean Airlines jet being on the same runway at the same time. The Cheddi-Jagan Airport noted that its officials are working closely with the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority to conduct a full investigation of the incident and the circumstances that led to it. The investigation is being led by the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority. News source understands that in addition to securing statements from the pilots of the two aircraft, investigators will also be speaking to air traffic controllers and ground agents who might have witnessed the incident. Voice recordings between the pilots and the air traffic control officers are to be reviewed as part of the investigation. The license for the pilots for the two airlines have since been suspended as the investigations roll on. The air traffic control officers who were manning the runway at the time have also been suspended. The Director General of the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, Egbert Field, said the incident was an unfortunate one that will be fully probed. The Education Ministry has launched the National TVET Policy 2025 to 2035. It is a comprehensive policy document intended to transform technical and vocational education and training in Guyana to effectively respond to the country's rapid growth and development. At the launching, Education Minister Priya Manek-Chan said now that the policy is completed, it is important to effectively implement it.
And so it's important that we hold the focus, that we keep the focus, that we stay on the trajectory of growth, that we stay in a place where we can see implementation of this policy. So to me and for me, today is a remarkable day, not only in launching the policy, but in advancing us one step forward in the creating the Guyana we want.
Meanwhile, the chairman of TVET, Elon Suknanan, said the completion of the policy framework marks a significant milestone in the journey towards transforming TVET into a dynamic and responsive pillar of national development. With the labor market undergoing rapid changes owing to the country's unprecedented growth and development, he said it is important for the country's human capital to be equally prepared to meet the demands of modern industries, emerging technologies, and the future of work.
With strategic and significant investments in modern training facilities, curriculum enhancement, industry partnerships, and digital transformation, the government of Guyana is ensuring that TVET is being positioned at the core of national transformation, ensuring that our workforce is equipped with the competencies and skills necessary to drive and thrive in Guyana's rapidly evolving economy, and ensuring that it remains sustainable, dynamic, inclusive, and aligned with regional and global workforce strengths.
He also said the policy framework is testament to the government's commitment to the transformation of all TVET institutions across the country.
It acknowledges the needs for skills development in key economic sectors, including the oil and gas sector, construction, manufacturing, ICT, agriculture, and other traditional sectors. It also prioritizes entrepreneurial skills, competency-based training, and digital integration to ensure that our graduates are not only job seekers, but also job creators.
Deputy Chief Education Officer Dr. Ritesh Tularam said the government through the Ministry of Education has been placing technical and vocational education and training equally among its top priorities.
The Guyana National TVET Policy 2025-2035 has been developed, taking into consideration technical and vocational skills development issues emanating from and in context of global, regional, and country levels. This is to ensure that the policy meets the requirements of the CANTA Quality Assurance Framework, and CANTA is the Caribbean Association for National Training Agencies, and enhances skills mobility of TVET graduates in Guyana and beyond. At the global level, the policy is primarily linked to the Sustainable Development Goal, SDG 4, which speaks to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all.
The policy was developed with support from the World Bank.
Yeah, you already know it's your truly Nalika Toy, the queen of zest.
If you take people, man, clap your hand, boy. If you take people, man, clap your hand, yeah.
Wait, Bobby?
Hi, Granny.
You know the Nelly song?
How you mean? Plus, she coming for a creek explosion Sunday, April 20th.
Creek explosion? Which creek? And is who bringing she?
The creek by Splash Main, Aziza Akusa, and his Team Extra bringing she.
Team Extra? Let me call Freddie.
Hello, Granny.
Hi, bye.
What going on?
You bringing Nelly Katai and you didn't even put me on the show? Like you said, Kunumunu or what?
Don't say fat, you're booking you now.
Galang, Granny.
Let me see the flyer. Female dancing competition over 160,000 given away. Plus male dance off for one motorbike.
Music by Bobby Kush, DJ Magnum, DJ Garwin, David Hype, and Papa Feelings.
Are you giddy up and get your early bird tickets for $2,000 at Team Extra Stabrook Market, Just Your Size Boutique, White Castle Fish Shop, and Fireside Sweets. Creek Explosion, compliments of Fireside and Team Extra.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Swatlana Marshall. In the region, Ministers of Tourism from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, have formally endorsed the OECS Sustainable Tourism Policy 2025-2035 at the 8th meeting of the OECS Council of Ministers held in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The new policy, which aligns with the OECS strategic priorities, is designed to drive economic transformation, promote environmental sustainability, foster social inclusion, and enhance resilience across member states. It introduces a renewed vision and mission, 3 broad strategic goals, 12 specific strategic goals, updated guiding principles, 8 thematic development areas, and numerous common policy directives. Grenada's Minister of Tourism, Adrian Thomas, who chaired the meeting, emphasized that the policy represents more than just a set of guidelines. The OECS Sustainable Tourism Policy 2025-2035 was developed through an extensive consultative process with member states and replaces the 2011 Common Tourism Policy, which expired in 2016. The policy will serve as the framework for building a more sustainable, resilient tourism industry across the region. Dominica is taking significant steps towards building a sustainable and well-regulated cannabis industry with the establishment of a National Cannabis Advisory Committee. The committee, tasked with guiding the process over the next 12 to 18 months, held its first meeting on Wednesday, April 2. An official statement from the Dominica government revealed that the committee includes a diverse group of stakeholders from public and private sectors, civil society, and technical fields. The committee is expected to conduct a thorough assessment of the health, legal, economic, and social implications of marijuana use in the country. And finally tonight, international news. President Donald Trump's pushing tariffs rocked global financial markets on Thursday, with the dollar and U.S. stocks tumbling as investors rushed to safe havens on fears a broadening trade war would push an already fragile world economy into recession. Trump's trade measures, announced after Wall Street's closing bell on Wednesday, were much more severe than many investors were anticipating. They included a 10% baseline levy on all U.S. imports, with much higher duties imposed on some countries. Investors worried that trading partners would retaliate, with one saying that could lead to an economic spiral of doom. With the prospect of higher prices in an already slowing U.S. economy that depends on the consumer for growth, investors bet on a much higher likelihood of a recession. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Swatlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.